So as I said in my last video, a couple nights ago I spent a couple of hours rooting through my stash of kits trying to settle on what I wanted to build next. It was really hard for me to turn aside my P51. That kit is just singing to me. I am so desperate to build that thing. It looks like just such a gorgeous model. I've seen a couple of build-ups of it, and oh my god, it is just stunning. Not to mention, I've seen a few of Tamiya's other 32nd scale kits, their recent ones, the Zero and the Spitfire. A couple of members of my model club have built one or two of them. Good lord, those things are... they set the new standard for just sheer jaw-dropping, stunning amazingness in model building. That being said, though, I'm going to wait a little bit longer before I get started on it. I want to do at least one more project before I jump into that thing, because there's just... it is just such a complicated looking model. There's so much photo etch, and like metal hinges that work, and like it's just so finicky looking that I really want to, you know, build up my skill before I jump into it. So yeah, I'm not going to be doing it yet, as much as I really do want to. That being said, though, I did settle on something else in my stash, something that is also a Tamiya kit, that I was very anxious to get started on when I first bought it, and it wound up sitting under my desk for the past year or so. I'm a fairly big fan of James Bond movies, and anyone who knows me knows I love action movies, and a good car chase is you know, one of my favorite things to watch. And the car chase in the last one, Quantum of Solace, was probably the best part of that movie. Besides the fact that they kind of destroyed that poor Aston Martin. Which is funny, because in the previous movie they had also destroyed an Aston Martin. So it's kind of they have a bad reputation for utterly, completely destroying Bond's absolutely gorgeous cars. But about a year or so ago, Tamiya released their kit of Bond's car, the Aston Martin DBS. I haven't had a close look through it. I've had this thing under my desk for about a year, and it's absolutely stunningly gorgeous. It is an absolutely incredible looking kit. I have seen a build-up of it, and I was very impressed. Now, I don't do a lot of cars. I mean, aside from the Woody wagon I did for my dad for Christmas this past year, I don't think I've really done a car that I've done justice to in a really long time. I think the last one I did was 67 Mustang Fastback, based on the movie Bullet, which is another great movie with an amazing car chase. But I saw this and I couldn't pass it up. So let's take a look at it. Now, this will be my first Tamiya car model, so I can't really speak for how this box art compares with their other kits, but it's a beautiful painting of the car. In fact, I thought this was actually a photograph until I saw, you know, a painter's signature on it. But it is absolutely gorgeous. You know, from this this 3/4 perspective of it, you know, it really shows off the gorgeous flowing lines of the vehicle. Below the painting, there's just some detail about it. 1/24 scale kit. Comes with a set of photo etched parts. Looks like some grills, nameplate. Not sure what else. Bottom side just has some side drawings, elevation drawings of the car completed in silver. It calls for TS76 mica silver. Top side has some historical information about Aston Martin and the DBS in particular in English, Japanese. More info, some technical info in English and also in Japanese. And then another picture of the completed model with the hood open. Instructions, Tamiya standard book type, photo of the completed kit at the top with technical information in English, German, French, and Japanese, a list of recommended tools. Assembly begins with the front disc brakes, which have separate rotors and calipers. Then we've got the linkages for the front suspension, which appears to have working steering. The engine is not a full engine. This is what I believe they call a curbside model, so it only has partial engine detail, which is kind of a bummer, but nevertheless, from the photos I've seen of the completed kit, it looks amazing. We've got lots of parts here, or lots of info here about painting the chassis underneath. Lots of different colors, lots of different details called out for. Now we've got the exhaust system, which I believe has chrome exhaust tips. The rear differential, quite a lot of different parts, pretty interesting looking. Then we've got the rear brakes and calipers, etc. It looks like it actually has dual calipers. Can't say for sure. I'm not an expert, but you can see there's the primary caliper, and that looks like a secondary. Then attachment of the rear suspension and shocks and etc. Wheels. You got your rubber tires and chrome-plated road wheels. You've got a skid plate, from the looks of it, on the rear, just covering the differential. Sorry, right there. Now getting into the interior, you've got your door panels, look like they come in multiple parts. Dash panel, you have an option for standard transmission or it's called a Touchtronic 2 transmission. So you've got either 3 pedals, which have photo etch parts to go over top, or you can remove one and replace with a larger photo etch for the brake. And there's alternate parts for the steering column. You've got more parts for the dash assembly. You've got a separate cowling for the dash view. Photo etched parts for the interior of the cockpit, if you want to call it that. You got a separate emergency brake handle. Nice looking racing seats. Separate footrest parts for the driver, which is interesting. You've got separate dash console components, so if you want to go with the standard transmission or the Touchtronic, obviously the standard having the gear shift handle, with painting instructions. None assembly of the interior to the chassis, nothing special, but it does have the rear view mirror has a reflective metal transfer, so that'll look pretty cool. The kit includes masking tape seals for the windows, so you can paint the black trim around the windows, as well as you've got your photo etch parts for the grille, as well as other plastic components, detail parts. You've got your headlights installation, you've got your rear spoiler and license plate, you got your option for your American style small or European style wide license plate, separate windshield wipers, paint guide for under the hood, grille parts, clear parts for the headlights, headlight inserts having chrome backings with clear lenses and solid frame, and more photo etch parts and more bumper parts, and then final assembly and attachment of side mirrors and other odds and ends. Finally, you've got your painting and marking guide on the back. Quite comprehensive, looks fairly straightforward to follow. First up, for actual parts, we've got our metal transfers. You can see the rear view mirrors, the Aston Martin name logos, a few other odds and ends. I'm not sure how to apply these. I'll have to look into it. Decal set. You've got your license plate decals. So if you want to have it just display, you know, the car name DBS, or if you want to have it looks like an Asian style license plate or a European style license plate. You've got your decals for the instruments, license plate frames, other stuff I don't quite recognize. You've got your masking seals for the windows, which actually appear to be pre-cut or at least scored, which is nice because other times I've tried to use these masking seals on other kits. They weren't pre-cut and proved to be challenging to use. Finally, we've got our photo etch set. We've got obviously the center grille. These look like the pedals. Looks like you've actually got two options for gas pedals. A nice touch is that they've got a lot of real estate around the grills that you can apply glue to in most cases. That's always been a problem for me because application of really small amounts of glue has always been very challenging. So you can see like there's a couple of millimeters around the perimeter of this grill, for example, where glue application would be very easy. Starting on to the main kit parts. Now we've got the body of the car, which is molded in this kind of metallic dark gray, almost black. Very, very nice. There are some seam lines, some mold seams. There's one running right along the rear quarter panel here, and a couple along the front fenders. So those will need to be dealt with. But otherwise, very, very nicely molded. The detail under the hood is very impressive. Let's take a look at the clear parts. Alright, we've got the windshield, which has the wraparound side windows on it as well. There's also a ridge on here for where to apply the masking seal for painting of the black trim. Which is nice, so that'll be very easy to place. There's also raised ridges for the rear defog on the rear window. You've got your headlight covers. You've got, I believe these are the headlight inserts. Other fog lights. I'm not sure what these kind of cone-shaped dealies are. So we've got our rubber tires. A single screw, which I believe attaches the chassis to the body once everything is completed, and 4 poly caps. So it appears that the wheels will be removable and will be able to turn. Chrome parts. I've always liked Tamiya's chrome parts. Now, I have raged in the past about lousy chrome. This is how you do chrome. At this scale, this looks impeccable. It's a matte chrome. You know, it's not that high gloss, toy-like, really awful, cheesy looking chrome that you see in most kits. Like, this stuff looks incredible. Like, you can get a really good look at it on one of the headlight reflectors, I believe. It's a very soft, very matte. It's more than silver, but it's less than chrome, and it's very, very well put together. The backside, actually, you can see really it's a very soft matte chrome, very, very nicely done. Next up, we've got the hood, which has slots for 4 photo etched metal inserts, and I believe this is the skid plate for the bottom of the chassis for the differential. Speaking of the chassis, nicely done. Got some ribbing in here, some like cross-hatch designs. Looks nice. Underneath the engine, it would have been nice if it had a complete engine. All this was cut out and you know, separate parts. But you know, it's a curbside kit, so you know, that's just the way that they're done. But regardless, the molding of the hydraulic lines and linkages and whatnot underneath are nicely done. The engine block itself is molded to the wheel arches, the fenders inside, which is kind of unusual. But tooling is very, very nice on it. Then we've got, I believe these are front suspension parts. We've got the shocks, radiator maybe? I don't know what that is. Brake calipers, headlight inserts, some sort of plug for something. Not really sure where that's supposed to go. But very, very well put together, very nicely detailed. And this is a surprise. I didn't realize that the kit was molded in more than just black. This is most of the interior parts. You've got your dashboard, your bucket seats, your door side panels. I believe this is the rear deck behind the back seat. You've got your steering wheel, brake discs, steering linkage for the front. Your two options for Tektronic, or whatever the hell the shifting mechanism is called, and standard transmission. You've got your shifter handle and your interior bucket. Not much to say about that, really. There's not anything really detailed about it. So yeah, nothing special. I continue to be impressed. This isn't even the same shade of gray. This is a metallic gray, almost silver kind of color. You've got your intake manifold, your rear differential, your exhaust system, your muffler. I believe this might be, both of these are hood supports, should you choose to display the hood open. And not sure what this thing is, or that. But the intake manifold actually looks really, really nice. Lots of detail on the connection parts here. Very impressive. And last up, we've got steering linkage components, your front suspension parts, components for your brakes, where they connect to your steering linkage, spoiler maybe, more suspension parts, your side view mirrors, license plate parts, and your front facade. That's pretty much it. So at first glance, it's an absolutely gorgeous kit, and I can't wait to get started on it. I'm actually kind of bummed I waited as long as I did. I would have liked to have done this, you know, as soon as I bought it, because I mean it's just such a pretty kit. Now I'm going to finish my Raptor first. It'll probably be done in a week. It's close to finished. It's Wednesday right now. I should be able to get it painted by day after tomorrow. I think I said in the last video I thought I might be able to have it done by the end of the weekend. I think that was a little optimistic, because I got 2 coats of paint to do. I got clear coating to do. I got decals to do. I'll be lucky if I'm finished it in a week. But once I do, I'll probably take a day or 2 off and then get started on this sucker. And who knows? Maybe the next Bond film, Skyfall, will feature this car again. I certainly hope so, and hopefully it'll walk away unscathed. Because there's nothing sadder to me than seeing an absolutely gorgeous supercar like this getting destroyed. So maybe I can do it justice. So yeah, thanks everyone out there for watching, and happy modeling.